Welcome to another session of Itala Life. My name is Narciso Mbuyu, and I'll be your host for today's session. Um, Today, Namhlanje to know Mr. Mtembu, who will be taking us with through geography, with climate and climate. That's what I read. So, Mr. Mtembu, welcome. Welcome, Mr. Mtembu.
Thank you so much, Nazis. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Um,
Sizoyenza namhlanje.
Thank you. Namhlanje sizokwenza local climate. Our focus area today will be on valley as well as the city climate. So this two
Okay.
goes hand in hand because if you bhekisisa kahle, i-valley it's a physical thing, yabo. Into edalwe uNkulunkulu, and then ilento i-city climate into man-made, so yakhiwe abantu. Then now today we are going to be seeing and looking at what is the differences between iland ama-temperatures between those two places. So ilento esizobe siyibheka namhlanje. So grade 12, let us look at the climates, the local climates, focusing on the valley as well as on the city climate. So a valley climate occurs on a local scale, so which means yenzala nje endaweni encane nje and lasts for a few hours. So in this section, we'll be focusing on imoya ewu-2, which is the anabatic as well as the katabatic wind. So find out what do we mean about that. Once you are done ngalokho, and then so siyokwenza slope aspects, which is called aspects, and then bese sibheka i-city climate here. So the focus area here yethu yanamhlanje le grade 12 as they prepare for final exams ethu. Now let us look at what do we mean about anabatic? What do you mean about katabatic winds? So the structure of a valley and the heating and cooling that occurs during the day, it causes anabatic as well as katabatic to occur. So ngokwe-diagram yami la grade 12, ngikwazile nje ukukhombisa ukuthi ibukeka kanjani i-anabatic wind as well as ibukeka kanjani i-katabatic wind, but asifocuse ngalana nje kancane kwi-anabatic wind. Nanti ilanga li-visible, yabonakala. Nanka ama-arrow asuka lapha phakathi nendawo ayanyuka, achaza ukuthi umoya oshisayo uyanyuka, and achaza ukuthi this whole situation is taking during the day because nanti ilanga selibona, and uma kushisa umoya uyanyuka. Ngala kuma-katabatic winds khona sinenyanga, the moon, sine-thermal belts, sinomoya owehlayo. Lo moya siwubiza ngokuthi katabatic wind. So the reason why uwehla lo moya is because heavy, it's dense. Let us look at the difference between the anabatic as well as katabatic wind. So anabatic wind are winds that blows up a valley slope during the day. I hope ubonile ama-arrows enyuka laphayana phezulu kwi-valley. I-katabatic wind are winds that blows down the valley slope at night. So ukhiye between these two here, ukhiye nje ukuthi one occurs during the day and then another one occurs during the night. Let's just look at the thermal belts. What do you mean about the thermal belts? The thermal belts is a layer of warm air in the middle of a slope above the cold air in the bottom of the valley. So i-thermal belts nayo ine-role eyidlalayo, especially at night, ngoba i-trapper ukushisa from escaping from the valley. Remember, in the valley there are factories, there are houses, there are even cars, imoto ehambayo. So zonke lezi zinto lezi zikhipha ismoke. Imagine-ke manje grade 12 ukuthi ebusuku uma sekunalento i-thermal belt sivalile laphayana kwenzakalani. Okay, let us look at some effects of anabatic winds on a settlement. Anabatic winds take pollution out of the valley. Uyakhumbula ngithi ukuthi lama area ngikhombise wona kuleya diagram ye-anabatic winds ukuthi abenyuka. So by then asuke lento release the pollution that is within the valley. So that is ama-effects, ama-results khona. Ama-effects of katabatic winds wona on the other hand, on the settlement. Katabatic winds, they trap pollution in the valley. So in the trap pollution, Gracewell, remember ukuthi ngithe lela bhande leliyana esazobheka nje njengamanje. Katabatic winds bring cold temperatures to the valley. Ukubona especially abantu abahlala ey'ndaweni ey'phansi ney'ntaba ukuthi lapha at the bottom of the valley, at the bottom of the slope, kuyaye kubande, you know. So ama-effects nje lawo enzakalayo, especially during the night. And then also katabatic winds, they lead to the development of the thermal belts. So the very same thermal belts ekade ngisho ngale sesizoyibona-ke manje ukuthi yini umsebenzi wayo kahle kahle. Okay, thermal belts is a zone of warmer temperature above the valley. So basically they serve as the lead. Yabo iy'ntaba mazime kanje, and then besofaka isivalo phezulu. So leso sivalo leso-ke siyi-thermal belt. So it serves as a lead, serve as isivalo. Iyavala nje yonke into, ivala i-valley at night. Iyayivala i-valley so that umoya ongaphakathi kwi-valley ungakwazi ukuthi u-escape unyuke. Okay, let us look at the impacts of the inversion layer. Ngokwe-diagram, nanka lama-factories ebengikhuluma ngawo. Kunezindlu la kuhamba even ney'moto. Ama-factory release i-smoke, and there we are. Sisayibona-ke manje i-inversion layer, which is a warm thermal belt. Sayibona i-inversion layer iyavala yonke into. Remember grade 12 ukuthi this whole situation, it takes place at night, not during the day, but at night. So i-thermal belts or i-inversion layer iyavala nje la kwi-valley, yonke valley, so that the pollution that is within this valley can be trapped, and it circulates around the valley. Imagine-ke wena ohlala la kwi-valley or osebenza la kwi-valley ukuthi what will happen to you, even nawe driver, what will happen to you if sonke ismoke sesivaleleke phakathi kwi-valley. Now let us look grade 12 at the effects of warm thermal belts on settlement as well as on farming. So people will build their houses halfway up the slope of the valley to be in the warmer thermal belts. So halfway through, uma nje unyuka kancane kwi-valley yakho, halfway kuthe kuba womanyana kancane, so people will actually choose to build their houses there in order for them to be safe kwilanto kuma-cold conditions. Let us look at what type of crops can we plant at the bottom of the valley. Crops which need warm or frost-free conditions will be planted in the thermal belts. For example, sugarcane. So lama plants la ngiwasho manje cannot be planted at the bottom of the valley. My correction, cannot be planted at the bottom of the valley because it's cold. So they can only be planted lapha we-mid slope with thermal belts because it's hot, and these things they need, this type of crops, they need warm conditions, so they cannot survive at the bottom of the slope. Then let us look at the effects of frost pockets on the settlement as well as on the farming. Crops which can withstand cold conditions, such as frost, which is at the bottom of the slope, which is found la in the slope. We're looking at now the type of crops that can be planted at the bottom of the slope, the type of plants that can actually emelane nokubanda, with what exactly type of crops are really those. So let us look at them. what can we actually plant up at the bottom of the slope? The types of crops that you can plant are the potatoes. So my potatoes can actually withstand the cold conditions. That's why they can be planted where there is frost at the bottom of the slope. Then also pollution is trapped in the cold air below the temperature inversion at night. So once the cold air has been trapped, then kuzosala ama-conditions nje abandayo. So kuyabanda lapha at the bottom of the slope. Kuyabanda. So as I was saying, not all crops can actually survive in those cold conditions at the bottom of the slope. You must make sure with you plant plants or crops that can actually withstand those cold conditions, such as the potatoes and other type of crops. Now let's just look at the slope aspects, or just the aspects, grade 12. This refers to the direction in which a slope faces. Remember, we have the north facing slope, we have also the south facing slope, depending ukuthi ikiphi-ke iland hemisphere. Remember, in the southern hemisphere, everyone is like, rushing after iland north facing slope. The reason why is because north facing slope is warmer, but we'll get into details in a short while. Okay, so this determines whether the sun's rays will hit the side of the valley directly or indirectly. So ilanga ngendlela elishaya ngayo nje kulama slope liwashaya as an oblique angle. So lisuke nje lila eceleni lishaya nje lapha esayidini. Now let's just look at how slope aspects influences the temperatures of north and south facing slopes in the southern hemisphere. Our main focus is on the southern hemisphere, but remember, grade 12, uma sekuphume iphepha lines north facing slope, you must know ukuthi ilanga liqhamukaphi and abantu ba-prefer ukwakha kuyiphi indawo. Now, how the sun's rays affect slope temperatures in the southern hemisphere. North facing slope receive the direct sun's rays of the sun, making them warmer. And on the other hand, on the other side, south facing slopes receive indirect sun's rays of the sun, making them colder or cooler. So in South Africa, in southern hemisphere, ama-warm conditions azoba kwi-north facing slope, kanti ama-cold conditions azoba grade 12 with-south facing slope. So north facing slope is warmer than the south facing slope in the southern hemisphere. This one must be known. Let us look at the diagram here, which is showing us the slope aspect. And the diagram here is slope aspects nanti ilanga. Remember, grade 12, this is the southern hemisphere, right? So ngendlela ilanga elistrike ngayo, listrike direct laphayana kwiland. Listrike lapha ka-south. Remember, grade 12, ukuhlukanisa between south, especially on the diagram, south no north. South la, south nangu south. Usuke uqondene nelanga and uface in-north. That is why we say this is a north facing slope. So ngicela ingakudidi leyo nto. So kwi-north facing slope, this is what is happening here, man. You have the direct sun's rays that is taking place there. Ilanga laphayana, it hits a small surface, therefore slope is warmer. And then kanti ngala kwi-south facing slope, there's indirect sun's rays which are oblique. Ilanga futhi, it hits a large area or surface area, therefore the slope is cooler. And then mase sekubheka ngokwe-reality manje, this is the north facing slope. Remember, it was facing the sun, so it's getting all the sun's rays. That's why vegetation is green color. This is the north, this is the south facing slope. It wasn't getting the sun or sun's rays. That is why the vegetation is dry. Naso-ke isimo grade 12 sase-Northern Hemisphere. Slope aspects um, in the Southern Hemisphere, looking at the circlement, the positioning of the circlement. This is the positioning of the circlement. Remember, this is the south-facing slope. So it's the sun is right here. Ilanga lilaphana, listrike laphana kulezi zindlu. That is why abantu bechoose ukwakha la, the south-facing slope. Now let us look at questions angase aphume mhlambe kwi-exam. Engaphuma in this fashion here, grade 12, you have a diagram there which showing the air that is rising, and then you have another diagram there which is showing umoya that is sinking. Now question, name the valley winds depicted in A and B. So A wethu anabatic, B wethu katabatic. Look by just looking at the movement of these arrows. Number 2 states one advantage of the wind labeled A. Nangu A anabatic, remember umoya uyanyuka and it takes place during the day. So the main advantage is just simple. It's releasing the pollution. So it releases pollution out of a valley. So iyanyuka because the air is rising up, so it's clearing all the pollution that was there within the valley. Name the layer labeled C. Nangu C laphana. Say it's an inversion layer or it's a thermal belt. Explain how the wind labeled B influences number 1, A, farming in the valley, number 2, industries in the valley. So only plants that can withstand the cold conditions can be planted right there at the bottom of the valley, grade 12. And then when it's come to industries, they're polluting the air, So what inversion layer does here, what thermal belt does, it traps the air or pollution from rising, from escaping. So it ends up polluting the whole area here. So it pollutes in such a way that even you as a driver, more driver, it will reduce visibility, so you can't be able to see. Even now, valley at the bottom of the valley will experience respiratory problems because, especially to those people who are asthmatic, they will find it difficult to breathe. So these are the answers, grade 12, for our activity. Then let us look at the city climate. Remember what I've said when I started introducing my lesson. I said valley climate represents a physical feature or natural because it's not a man-made thing. And then bese ukuthi city, city climate yona-ke, so we're looking at the contributions that are made by people because sibheke izinto ezakhiwe, yabo. I-city into eyakhiwe, so it's a man-made. Okay, now city climate, urban areas experience a different climate compared to the surrounding rural areas because it's iyakhiwe ngocement, so you have all these artificial surfaces that are the imigwaqo, yonke into, yabo. So formation of heat island over the city will be evident. Okay, now let's just look at our focus area here. Let's just look at the causes of heat island. Ukuthi ibangwa yini? Urban heat island, as a concept, you as a learner, you must be able to define it. It is when the city has a warmer temperatures than the surrounding rural areas. So you must emphasize between these two types of temperatures. One in the urban area or city, and then the other one in the rural areas. Awafani lama temperatures. Now we exam ungalindela mhlambe into ekanje. In the exams you may expect a question such as how temperatures change as you move towards the city center. So we are going to be looking, let us look at a diagram so that everyone can be on the same page. Remember, as you move from the city center towards the outer parts, or from the outer parts towards the city center. Temperature yenze njani? Okay, let us look at the temperatures on the side with graph yami. And you can see we have the lowest temperature with 23, and then the highest is 28. Then nansi built up area is CPD, and then you have rural areas ngapha nangale futhi. So we have the graph that shows ukuthi temperature ishintsha kanjani as you move from the rural areas into the urban areas. So the temperatures increases as you go towards the urban areas or the city center. Why? It's because we have all these artificial buildings or surfaces that traps the heat. Let's just look at the pollution dome, which is a mass of polluted air in and above a city or industrial complex, which is prevented from rising by the presence of inversion above it. Now, this is a pollution dome. The pollution dome occurs at night. It occurs at night. We have a vertical dimension here. Nanku umoya uyanyuka. Remember, wonke lo moya lo uyashisa. But since since there is a thermal belt laphayana which straps all this air, technology namhlanje ilento inamaheqeheqe, I apologize ngaleyo nto. Since there's a thermal belt lapha, it straps all this warm air from rising up. Ended up creating into ekanje because of the vertical dimension. The pollution is trying to escape, the warm air is trying to escape, but for the fact that there's a presence of thermal belt lapha, it cannot. So this is how a pollution dome looks like. So pollution dome is closer to the surface during the night. That's one you must be known by you before ungene kwe-exam work lecture futhi nje. Pollution dome is closer during the surface during the night, or it's close to the surface during the night. Now let's just look at the factors causing the heat island, which are artificial surfaces, which are man-made surfaces. What type of surfaces are these? These are surfaces like water, ama-etiyela, nazo zonke lezi zinto absorb the heat. Then also surface areas such as the size of the buildings, they add to the surface area. With a greater area, more heat is absorbed by these buildings. Kune pollution that adds as a factor. So more factories and cars release pollution, which traps the heat. Yona yonke lento contributor to pollution dome nani nakwi heat island. Artificial heat sources, not from the sun, but from human-made. Oma heater, like oma factories, cars, air conditioning, they release heat into the air. Now let us look at the sustainable ways to reduce the urban heat island effect. Number one, we need to promote the green belts. We need to plan and have more parks or recreational areas with trees and plants. So i-green belt, grade 12, i-green belt inaleyo function nje ukuthi it actually absorbs the heat. Besides nje ukuthi it beautifies the area, or the area looks beautiful, it makes the area looks beautiful, but it actually traps, it absorbs the heat. Then also you must plant more trees in the city so that they can absorb the carbon dioxide and release the oxygen. Increase vegetable cycles by planting rooftop gardens. Have those rooftop gardens utshale phezulu. Siyasibona kulama buildings lawa masha in those newly built cities kunama vegetation, kune vegetation phezulu. The new buildings should not be built with materials like glass or any reflecting materials. Let's say reduce and land, so reduce lama buildings with reflecting materials so that we can actually reduce the urban heat island. Now another sustainable to reduce urban heat island is the height of the buildings should have a limit. So akumele senze oma skyscraper. I don't know ke manje ngoba vele ama skyscrapers are fashionable these days, so bakha wona kakhulu, especially in those newly built cities. We must have laws that force the factories to reduce the amount of pollution they produce. And then also we need to improve and encourage people to use public transports. In our days, siyabona like cities such as Johannesburg, kusetshenziswa Rea Vaya, whereby kunemigwaqo nje lento yamabhasi kuphela yabo, so that they cannot make traffic congestions laphayana. So if ne-congestion eningi, that's actually have an impact and contributes immensely to pollution. So by having those, and then also what you call these cars, hybrid cars, the introduction of those hybrid cars, imoto ezisebenza ngogesi, will actually reduce the pollution on my urban heat island. So by introducing such cars, you are actually limiting the footprint, you are limiting the pollution that is made by imoto emgaqweni. And then also even itimela azipollute that much into the atmosphere because ayikhipi zona ilento ismoke. And then also lastly, we must promote ama-lifts clubs to work. Uma sisebenza mhlambe sibo-5 around the area, kumele sibe nama-lifts club whereby kuzosetshenziswa imoto eyodwa yabo, kamakhelwane sonke ngoba vele sindaweni eyodwa, and then ngakusasa kanjalo kanjalo. So ama-lifts club lawo, so by us doing that, we are limiting and minimizing the amount of heat that is given off, the pollution that is given off. We are limiting the urban heat island. So ilokho-ke Grace of Being ngiphathele khona namhlanje. Siyabonga kakhulu lesikhathi senu. Remember, uma unama-questions ungakhohlwa nje faka ilento i-message yakho lapha ku-WhatsApp, ku-Facebook or ku-YouTube wakho. So nje until again, nibe nemini emnandi.
Ngiyabonga Mr. Mthembu. Thank you, Mr. Mthembu, for the session. I don't know if you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear. Thank you.
Yes, siyabonga. Sifundile kakhulu. Ngiyacabanga ukuthi abafundi bazothola bazobhala kahle. Ngiyabonga. Sizobonana emunye nini.
You're getting there. Keep trying. Thank you so much, Nazis. It was very good here working with you for our today's session. So thank you so much.
Thanks. Till then, see you next time. Bye.
Yes, bye.